Hey, She Slayers, and welcome to another episode of She Slays the Day podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauren Brunswick, and we have a very, very, very special episode today. So you, I, so I'm ashamed to admit that how I found out about our next guest was actually not from TLC or, TV or social media even, but it was through message after message after message of you guys messaging me saying, you have to try and get this doc on the podcast. And I was like, wait, what? There's a chiropractic reality show? And so then I went down the rabbit hole. I fell in love with her because she's so great. Watched the show because I was like super skeptical. No, I don't want to say that. I take it back. I was not super skeptical. I was super nervous. That is a much better word. As I would imagine all of us were, right? Like, who is it? How is she going to explain this? What's it going to look like? Oh, how is like, not even like, you just kind of imagine that there's only a certain amount that's in her control too. So what is the production company going to make this look like? We've been burned. All right. I think it is safe to say that as chiropractors, it is okay that we felt nervous of like, how is the media going to portray this? Because, we look at like, oh gosh, what's the show where the, oh, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting on all the things. It was not two men and a baby. But he was like this really dweeby chiropractor who was living with the guy who went crazy and like talked about tiger's blood, Charlie Sheen. At least I remembered one thing. I don't know. You're all yelling into the podcast right now, like the name of it, but I can't remember it. So that guy was not a good portrayal of chiropractic. So we're like, all right, how is this gonna go? And so I started watching because, like, I don't know if you know this, but I also really try and protect you from having a bad experience with a guest. And I don't know if it's you or if it's me. So I'm like, well, let's see if she's entertaining and if I like her. And I fell in love with her. So today we have Dr. Alessandra Colón on, and I asked as many questions as I could. Okay. There are certain questions you're just not allowed to talk about. Like, don't you guys watch reality TV enough and like go down the rabbit holes of what you're allowed to ask and what you're not allowed to ask and what they're allowed to talk about? So I did my best. I did my best to get as many dirty details as possible. We talk about, but I threw this out to my audience and you guys had a lot of questions. So I tried to incorporate as many of those questions as possible. First, I really got like into it. Can we talk about Britney Spears for just like one little sidestep? I was procrastinating. I'm just in a procrastinating mood today. I actually watched a video from Brenda Bouchard on procrastination while I was trying to procrastinate. It was good. It got me stop procrastinating a little bit. And then I was on Instagram because I sit in front of the microphone like, okay, you can do this. I don't know why intros are so much more difficult to like wrap up and you just want them to be so good because they're like they're introducing you to an episode. So they should be good, especially ones where you've got like good people on, compared to the bad one. I'm joking. So I'm on Instagram and Britney Spears has a book coming out. And I mean, I'm gonna read it. I wish it was a reality show. If I'm honest, I am like totally praying for season 2 of Crack Addicts, but also Britney Spears reality show would be fantastic. But it's a book. And if you're not like following the whole Britney thing, like maybe you're like kind of following where you're like, yeah, didn't she like there was like free Britney for a while? Yes, we all said free Britney. And then she got her Instagram account given to her. And we were all like, huh, her poor Brit girlfriend's got some stuff going on. So I don't know. I'm going to read it. But like, if you even read her Instagram posts, it's like, what was that coherent? Well, that was incoherent. That was an incoherent ramble. So I don't know how a book happened, but we'll see. We'll see. Again, I'd still love a reality show, but I'll take a book. All right, what else do we need? Oh, speaking of books, for those that are also paying attention, you know that I got introduced over a year ago, March of 2022. I fell into the like fantasy fiction world, and I have never wasted so much productive time in my life reading non helpful fiction. That's all we're going to say. So my mom, I finally got her to finish the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. That's what started everything off. It's an addiction. Okay. Like if you haven't read it, you need to, please. Like, what are you doing? Just stop listening to this podcast and go listen to that. So then I'm finishing up Throne of Glass, which is like 8 books long. It's by the same author. 8 thick books. We're talking like 23 hours on Audible. So I don't know how many pages that turns out to, but like, and then also like, I don't know, like 2.5 inches thick. Like these are big, big books. And I already know, like, I'm in the final couple hours of listening to the final book. And so next I'm going to read The Fourth Wing. I don't know if any of you are in this. This is just Lauren's book club of fantasy fae people. We're weirdos. It's okay. Somebody told me about a podcast called Flights of Fantasy. So if you are in this world and you're also into podcasts, which you're listening to me, so Flights of Fantasy, I haven't checked it out yet, but I definitely know what I'll be doing the next time I want to procrastinate. Screw Brendan Bouchard. I'm going to be listening to Flights of Fantasy. That is not helpful. All right. So Dr. Alessandra has a deep compassion for those seeking improved health and wellness fueled by personal experience. She's going to share, we kind of touch on a couple pretty traumatic things that happened to her. So at the age of 14, Dr. Colón was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer. After doctor gave her a 25% chance to live, she underwent advanced chemotherapy and radiation, leading to her remission. Surviving her greatest struggle powered her love of health and life. Looking back, it dawned on her that she had gained so much more than growing hair back. She says beating cancer gave her the push to become more knowledgeable about the human body, nutrition, and natural prevention of disease. Insert chiropractic. So after graduating from the University of Arizona with a bachelor's of science, Dr. Colón's devotion led her to pursue her doctorate of chiropractic from Palmer College in Florida, where I wish I would have gone. Like, if we're honest, like, that's right. Come on. Or Life West. But I don't know. I think they're like more north, so I don't think they have as much beach happening. All I can say is that I am following the Palmer, like, I follow a bunch of students, and you guys that are at the beach studying, I just jealous. Anyways, at Palmer, back to her. She was challenged and instructed by leading professionals in the field and augmented her skill with proficiencies in sports therapy, rehab, and nutritional guidance. During her studies, Dr. Colón desired to both test her abilities further as well as reach out to a global community. Between the years of 2010 and 2012, she traveled to the Grenadines, the Dominican Republic, and India, offering free chiropractic care to over 4,000 people. Her commitment to promoting optimal health and well-being has been integral in freeing people from pain and increasing her patients' whole body performance ever since. Her journey didn't end there, and after spending years running marathons alongside her mother and brother in the fight against cancer, she was nominated to campaign for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. After 10 weeks, she raised over $60,000 and was crowned the 2015 Woman of the Year. She went on to become Palm Beach Illustrated Top Chiropractor 2018 and Best of Palm Beach 2020 and 2021. Today, she serves her community as a living inspiration to us all and a daily reminder to fight for the things you believe in. As for her practice, Dr. Colón uses a whole person approach. This approach to wellness involves discovering the root causes of pathology or dysfunction and making interventions and lifestyle adjustments that optimize one's ability to function within a day-to-day life. She looks to the spine when evaluating a patient's entire body and treats accordingly, as she understands that complete health relies heavily on how body parts affect each other biomechanically. Using this unique system, Dr. Colón is able to help her patients accelerate and maintain their journey to good health. She says, don't restrict your practice to the musculoskeletal. It's much more than that. There is nothing better than allowing your body to heal itself. So there we go. Obviously, her promotional person did not follow my 4 to 5 sentence bio rule, but that's okay. We know so much, and you probably were wondering. So in this episode, we're going to talk about how did this happen? How did this fall into her world? What are her goals going forward? What were the challenges that she experienced with this? And just her story and her opinions and how she wants to help this profession. So let's pray and then we'll get into it. Dear God, thank you for this opportunity that chiropractic has been given. Thank you for putting such a large burden on someone else and not me. No, just kidding. Thank you for Dr. Colón. Alessandra, she knows the weight that she carries and the impact that can happen from this. Please, please pour your blessing over this. Make a season 2 happen. I think it is just getting started with the impact that can be had and the people who can discover chiropractic in such a huge way. Thank you for the production team and how well chiropractic is being portrayed in media. Thank you for the support that she has given. Continue to surround Dr. Alessandra with so much support from her peers. She shares that it wasn't necessarily the haters of chiropractic that she was worried about. It was her peers. And so continue to surround her with an outpouring of love and support and encouragement. And let us each stand up and figure out how we can continue to feel the impact that we're doing. Be with anybody who listens to this and feels shame or judgment. Their ego feels like they're not doing enough. And a reminder that we're all playing such a part in this on the grand scope, and you focus on every single child individually. And that at the day of reckoning and judgment, you're not going to ask, but how many views did you get? It is going to be how well were you used when I gave you opportunities to do so and shed light and love and impact on everyone around you. In your name we pray. Amen. All righty. I'm excited. She's awesome. You guys are going to love her so much. Here is my interview with Dr. Alessandra Colón. So we'll just get started.
I'm really excited. Actually, my publicist was like, so I have one publicist on DLC and then one publicist for me. And she's like, I'm really excited about this one because it's a person who's like, she's so synergetic with you. Or just her questions are synergetic with you. I'm like, I know, I really like it.
I'm like, how do I ask this without being an asshole? No.
And I'm like, bring it on.
Go ahead. Okay, so hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Has this been insane? Okay. I peaked. Hold on. The preface to that question is I went down your rabbit hole of Instagram and I found a post from last November. So I have a feeling you knew last November, you'd have known things that were coming in 2023, right?
Actually, wow, you're really good. Way to be detective. Yeah. Last November, I was 8.5 months pregnant. The project had been ongoing for well over a year. And I was kind of in the production. You think Puerto Rican time is
you'd already been recording.
Yes, but production is a whole nother time of their time frame. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh gosh, it's never gonna happen. And one of the producers calls me and says, I have one last question for you. And I say, okay. And I'm right there. I'm like, gosh, I'm so fat right now. I'm pregnant, but let's go. I call her up and she's like, what's going on? And she says, my one last question is, are you ready to be the first chiropractor in the world to have a national televised series? And I literally just started sobbing. It could have been hormones, could have been excitement, but I was like, oh.
So you had no idea while you were filming if it was even going to happen?
No, I had no idea. I need to go through some steps and process to get approved. I do believe there's a lot of connotations around chiropractic care, so I'm sure everybody.
Nah.
And then I was like, well, when are we going to do this? And they were like, in 2 months. I'm like, well, I'm going to be delivering soon. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this.
So how old is your baby now?
He is 7 months.
Okay.
I love my life. He's so cute.
Wow. I can't imagine the like process. To me, that would be like, I'm a serial dater. So like, it would be like dating someone that I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'll marry you or not. The lack of commitment would be heartbreaking.
It was really, really, really tough. And they were so wonderful with me. They said, we'll give you as much time as we can before we film, the first season. But I don't care what anybody says. A newborn and 6 weeks postpartum and filming is insanity. Insanity. I was like, cut, gotta breastfeed. Gotta milk.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, so in November then, so the reason I was like asking is you have put, I actually don't remember what the original question was going to be because I took too many rabbit holes, but like, yeah, you put out there that like big things were coming in 2023. But prior to that, like when, I stalk your 2019 and 20 and 22, a lot of it was just work-life balance. It seemed like it was work-life balance, but also like side hustle, right? Or like passive income. Is your husband a realtor?
Absolutely. I do everything from real estate. I own multiple properties. I actually have other businesses outside of the state that I own and operate as my own CEO outside of my chiropractic business. Obviously, I'm a mom. I'm a stepmom. I'm a really high energy, absolutely, well, excuse my French, batshit kind of person. Yes.
So first of all, do you know your Enneagram? Do you know what the Enneagram is?
No,
Okay.
I have no idea. I do know what it is, but I have no idea what mine is.
All right. Well, right now we're between a 3 and a 7, so we'll figure it out by the end. Don't worry. Okay. So then how did this come about?
Actually, that was a question that I first asked them because I was like, wait, hold on. I got an email and, come on, who gets an email like, hey, we'd be interested in doing a show with you. We saw one of your TikToks. And I'm thinking like,
are you serious?
Wait. Yes, it was just a TikTok. By the way,
I'm so pissed I'm not on TikTok.
you're correct to think it's going to be the TikTok that's really funny and cute. No, this is like some like ridiculous TikTok about period cramps and stretching. Like this was the TikTok you guys chose to like find me off of. And then on top of that, I'm like, yeah, because Dr. Oz wants me to have me on board too. Okay. Like,
yep. Okay.
I was like, yeah, okay, this is funny. I really didn't take it seriously when it was first introduced to me. It wasn't about 2 weeks later, they like reached back out like, hey, like we haven't heard back from you. Like
you ghosted them. You thought it was a scam.
I did. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Like 1 in a million. This isn't like I was looking for this opportunity. I wasn't like seeking it out. I wasn't trying to go down this avenue. It was organic and it fell into my lap. And when the opportunity presented itself, it was like,
don't say no to that.
Well, shoot. All right. What do I do now?
Your personality already seems like somebody who you wouldn't say no. You would say yes and figure out and worry about all the stuff later. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm a yes kind of person that sometimes gets me in trouble, but for the most part, I jumped.
So after you said yes, and I'm sure I'm sure we are glazing over all sorts of different, meetings and phone call. Was there a point where you went, oh shit, this is what I said yes to, and like it sunk in the weight of it all? This isn't just about you anymore. This wasn't just like, oh, this sounds fun.
Yeah. I think when production came and we actually filmed the first episode and they were all here and it's like cameras in your face and it's really happening, I think I had blinders on to that moment. I was just really excited about the opportunity, not understanding what I was really getting myself into. But once they all came and it was really happening, it was really an oh crap kind of moment. Like, wait a second, what are the repercussions of this? How am I representing myself? What are things I want to see? What if I don't represent well? And not for nothing, you have this idea, okay, well, the millions of people that are going to see you. And what if I do something wrong? What if I'm stupid? What if I do this? What if I'm not myself? What if I'm not great? And then the worst part about it all, I think my biggest concern wasn't even like the naysayers and the people who, bully behind, computers and stuff like that. It was my peers. I was terrified for the reaction of my peers because some of my best friends, who I think are some of the biggest dogs in our industry, I'm thinking, well, why not them? You know, like, am I really cut out for this? Like, why not get that guy who's like seeing 2,000 patients a month and has a gazillion-dollar practice and all these wonderful things? Why me? So yeah, I really, really, really struggled with it. I cried a couple times, to be honest. I was like, I'm crazy for what was I thinking?
Well, and yeah, I mean, but you're already committed at this point, and you wouldn't have said no. You wouldn't have said no. You would have had all those feelings. I imagine that a lot of people would say no. Like, I do think there are that fear. And I would 100% agree with you that my fear wouldn't be, because like I accepted way back in chiropractic school that there are mean people about our profession and they're just going to be there. I mean, we encounter them at barbecues, we encounter them on TikTok.
Outfits.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it wouldn't be those people because I've built a defense. It would be the like, I don't even know. There are sometimes I've thought about how, because I'll like with the podcast, if I'm doing a really chiropractic specific episode, you know, like maybe day 2 conversions or something, I'll talk about, like, I'll let something slip that I say in my review of findings. And I'm like, oh gosh, I wonder if I just made a bunch of chiropractors go, you say
Right.
what?
Because
What?
everybody has their own philosophy, or maybe you're a cash payer, or maybe you're this, or maybe you're Atlas orthogonal, or immaculate, or maybe you're a I don't know. And everyone has this philosophy, and maybe it wasn't educational enough. Maybe you didn't do this. So you're like, dang, man, how am I going to capture all these avenues of what chiropractic is, right? And you just kind of have to say, like, what? Let me just do me. Have faith.
And I'm imagining that, like I have a feeling that chiropractic is a little unique in that I don't imagine that like dentists are like fighting over like that's how you describe a cavity. Oh my gosh. And I would also imagine that production had no idea this like skeleton in the closet that chiropractic has. And so like did you share any of your concerns about this communication burden you were
There were a
carrying?
lot of concerns. We had a lot of talks back and forth. One of them was me privately with them. Basically, even the name of the show, that was controversial enough. And, I didn't have a choice in that. That was production, which is fine. And I have to learn to honor that, right? The other part was, I don't even know how to put this. The other part was I was really, really fearful, I think, at one point about what they knew in terms of chiropractic. So it was really funny to watch them come in. They had an idea this was going to be some Dr. Pimple Popper type thing and how they were going to operate and run the show. When they actually came on board, it was like, whoa, hold on. I think they even learned a little bit through the learning process. I think they were like, wow, we didn't even realize like how beautiful the chiropractic profession was. We had no idea what you did. And all of a sudden we're, doing all these things. And they're like, wait a second, you need to capture that. Hold on, we need to do this. But wait, that's hilarious. But wait, that was really educational. So they came in thinking one thing and got like 10 things. They had, like everybody else, we're just neck and back, right? They didn't think about extremities or pediatric care or these extreme cases, or it was just wild. So I think in a beautiful way, actually production caught the plethora of what we can really do, right? Because we're not
do an amazing job. You do like an amazing job of like, it's like you're a politician almost like a chiropractic politician, because watching you just like bob and weave and make the subluxation chiros happy and make the rehab chiros happy. And I'm just like, how is she doing? And meanwhile, taking such a concept, and it's not just the production team who's like, you're educating all of America in just like a sound bite,
Yeah. Yeah. I think I have gotten a couple people that are like, oh, she's not, this enough or that enough, whatever it might be. And I don't mind, honestly. It doesn't get under my skin. I think what most people would be really, this is, at the end of the day, it's TV, right? So what people don't realize, some of these cases were so difficult, so difficult. Nobody even understood the hours that went into some of these cases. There were times I was even scared, to be honest. I was like, I need to go back to textbook. Give me a second. But most of it really was on the fly. I will say that much. And, it did take a lot of studying. There were times where even I was caught. I did call upon my peers at some times just to be like, hey, like, am I missing any contraindications to care? Can I phone a friend right now? Because I just need to make sure that I can do this and staying within our scope of practice, right? Because not all these are corrective care. Some of these patients are really difficult. And some of these, let's be honest, I can't cure it, right? But if you can give someone who's had a 10 out of 10 pain, maybe pain-free for 24 hours, well, isn't that worth it? Didn't we sign up to treat our patients no matter what? So that's kind of the idea that I was going back to. Go back to nerve interference, go back to subluxation, and go back to treating the spine. And that was where I was at the whole time in my head.
Right. You probably just had to have that right down. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overcomplicate
It's really easy to. It's so easy to with these complicated cases.
Now, so when did you graduate from chiropractic school?
2013 from Palmer Chiropractic, Florida.
Okay. And then what was did you own your own practice? Were you an associate for a while?
I was actually,
I was like going down the rabbit hole, trying to figure out what these.
I'm pretty sure I had an internship in New Jersey that fell through, and Hurricane Sandy devastated it. This was way back when. And so at that point I was jobless and I was like, what am I gonna do now? So I hopped in a Mini Cooper and drove south where the sun never stopped shining, never left Florida. Ended up getting a job as a CA, even though I was a doctor, because I needed to make ends meet, making $10 an hour. By 6 months into it, I knew immediately that I was not meant to be somebody's worker bee. I knew that I had my own path, and I went ahead and opened up my first practice, One Advanced Rehab. This was about 10 years ago. I partnered there, and 2 years later, I realized I need to take a bigger step. So I partnered with Papa Chiropractic, and I've been working there for the past 8 years. It's been absolutely fantastic, and I've done nothing but soar. So,
Okay, so wait a minute. You opened your own, but then you partnered with.
Yes, I had like multiple investors and partners. It was all complicated.
Okay.
It didn't work. I was naive. The very first time I signed up for things, it was a failure. I was naive as to what it took and signed on the dotted line when I probably shouldn't have, to be honest. And we all do it, right? You live and you learn.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So you are an associate or you're a partner?
I'm an associate.
What was the conversation like to your boss of like, hey, so there's this thing that I kind of already said yes to?
He was really, really, really excited for me. I think at the end of the day, he realized, because the way we function anyway, I have kind of my own practice within his practice. So it's kind of like an associate, but kind of a partner. So he was like, girl, you do your own thing. And no matter what, he's like, it's going to bring face value to both of us and what we have going on. And he's never treated me as an associate. So it's because I've always functioned on my own. But that was kind of a private conversation between him and I.
Yeah. So then did you have to, okay, so I'm just picturing like, I'm a very straight chiropractic, like we don't do a lot of rehab. Our appointments are short. Did you have to alter how you were taking patients for this? Like how?
Yes, I actually had hired a doctor to work. Well, first off, the doctor I had was already working there because he was covering me for my maternity leave. So I asked him to stay a little bit longer. So we actually kept the doors open while we were filming, and he took care of my regular patients while I filmed.
Okay. Because that's where I was just like, I just picture like, how on earth?
It's a lot of moving parts. There were a couple times, we had to, shut down or doing our day off just to make sure that we got what we wanted. And we knew the importance of it. You're willing to go with the eps and flows when you have an opportunity that's big in front of you.
So were you finding patients? Was production finding patients?
They did everything.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's the easiest marketing ever.
It was really crazy. It really was. I've never, it was the most exciting, most difficult, most challenging experience I've probably done to date out of everything I've done.
Has a pediatric patient been filmed yet?
Yeah. Actually, I think we have a pediatric patient on episode 2, Gigi.
Oh, really? I did not see that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
We focused on pooping.
Oh, that's amazing.
We focused on pooping. We focused on, constipation and belly rubs and making sure that we gave mom all the at-home tips for digestive issues. As you know, with infants, that's really can be really finicky.
Yeah. Hey, She Slayers. So, a question I get asked a lot is, what have I found that works best to get new patients in the door? Well, my friends over at the Pediatric Experience have put together the ultimate branding and marketing playbook that does a comprehensive job to answer this question, and they even include a free video training that comes with it. This free guide reveals the secrets to a kick-ass, wildly effective marketing system that consistently brings in over 20 new patients every single month. And guess what? It's all organic. Picture this, a proven approach that will grow your patient numbers while you focus on doing what you do best, providing exceptional chiropractic care. Inside the playbook, you'll discover the 5 core elements of this powerful marketing system. From crafting a compelling brand to implementing strategic marketing strategies, they've got you covered. If you know PX, Dr. Tony and that crew, they practice exactly what they preach, and it's no different in the latest PDF Plus training they've put together for you. So if you're ready to attract more patients through the door, grow your practice, and dominate your local market, this guide is a must-have for you. So check out the link in the description to get your free download and video training. Hey, She Slayers, are you looking to get your team off the phone and streamline your front desk so you can spend more time doing what you love? Sked has exactly what you're looking for. They will automate all your appointment reminders, missed appointment reminders, reactivation campaigns, allow you to have two-way texting with your patients. Plus, they have a very cool app that your patients are going to love. The app alone saves chiropractors tons of time because it gives patients the flexibility to move appointments to a time that works better for them. Don't worry, you won't lose control of your schedule because you'll have access to all the parameters that keep you still in control. Plus, there's overbook protection, so your schedule won't get out of hand. Sked was created by a chiropractor for chiropractors, so you can rest assured that you're getting the absolute best system for your office. Dr. Eric Kowalski is committed to the chiropractic mission, and he works closely with his developers to always be innovative so that we have the best system available. If you're hesitant to switch to Sked because you already use something else, let me tell you, it's worth every penny. Plus, mention that you heard about it on my podcast and they'll give you a discount. Seriously, it is a game changer. Don't wait. So, how has the reception been? And don't just say like, oh, it's been amazing. Like, what's been the surprise?
The reception has been, honestly, I am surprised. I was expecting more haters.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm honest, I was too.
More haters. I would genuinely say that 95% has been phenomenal. My peers, I mean, across the board, whether it's a podcast, Facebook, Instagram, I've been so supportive. There's a couple, chit chats going back and forth, but I don't mind it. I own it for what it's worth, and I'm
Do
really
you go down that rabbit hole and like
absolutely
read?
Not.
No,
absolutely not. It doesn't do me any service. The first couple of days, I did, and you're like, oh my god. But it doesn't do me any service because no one's ever going to be in my shoes, and no one's going to be able to wear my shoes and really come from a place of honesty and what it's really like. And to that, I don't think anybody can prepare you for the magnitude of what this did and what it has done to my life and my practice and to the chiropractic profession. So, whether it's, what they want to see, it's my journey, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I know that, so there's a chiropractor who became like TikTok famous. And one of the things that she was saying is that she like just taking new patients now in her like normal life is really a struggle because, one adjustment can provide a lot. But in general, like there's a ton of work to make sure that like diagnose, make sure it's safe, make a plan. And then people are like, oh, no, no, no. I was just in town because I wanted the head jerk. Like, I'm coming just for this one adjustment. So like now in real life, how do you at your front desk?
The hardest part. That is the hardest part, right? Because there's two things that are happening right now. I'll be honest. I have 15,000 people on the waiting line to see me. 15,000. 15,000. Imagine this. And the very first day I get there, the girls are picking the phone lines, like, and I just see like the pending doom on their faces. And they're calling from Australia, from London, from Western Canada, from Ireland, from, I don't even know, across the ocean. Nonetheless, Florida, all over the United States of America. And they have this perception that what they see on, the show is, we're going to adjust you, you're going to be pain-free, and then boom, I'm magic fingers, Harry Potter just came out, and you're going to be great. And so there's been a really hard, one, answering everything, two, getting to everybody. Now I'm fully booked, and three, weeding out the people and having them understand that you can't just come in and get adjusted and Miss Chiropractic's going to fix you. So we're like putting people in piles and having to figure out how to sift through things. And that's been, talk about uphill battle.
Yeah. I mean, I had a single reel go viral 2 years ago, and it was like, just, you had somebody at the front desk answering DMs be like, do you know anybody by me? Do you know anybody by me? And it's just like, this is annoying. But okay, no, so I'll take that back. Simultaneously, absolutely rewarding that you're in a different situation than we are. Like as a chiropractor who's like, I just put out a reel or a TikTok to try and like get new patients. And now all these patients are, it's great to bring chiropractic to people, but like without a specific place to send them. Like we don't have just this great directory of like, go here and find someone close to you.
And, that's one thing that I'm working on. That's a project that we're looking at right now. We're looking, one, what is, Miss Chiropractic? And two, I keep saying that one of the biggest blessings that has come from this, honestly, truly, if tomorrow none of this ever happened and, we don't get season 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I have chiropractors all over the world reaching out, telling me because patients watch my show, they walk in the door. So if you ask me, I've done my job as a physician, as a chiropractor, as a human being on this planet. And that is something, I get chills. That's something that I'm just so, so proud of, right? But also practicing my humanness and who I am as a person, it's hard for me to not feel empathy and compassion for people I can't help, right? And so we're looking on some creative solutions on how to make it basically like a nationwide Miss Chiropractic referral system. So that's something that we've been really looking into. It's in the works. Lord knows how long it's going to take because I have enough on my plate right now, but we are trying to be creative right now.
So talk to me about the Miss Chiropractic brand. When did that start? Did it start pre-production? Is it something that like...
It was something that I started when I first joined, as an independent contractor / associate with Papa Chiropractic. It was my Instagram name and something that, just slowly started to catch on and just evolved naturally. So it kind of it stuck. It stuck.
And then what's the hope? So a directory. Now, is that going to be specifically for Miss DCs, or how do you handle that?
Right? That's a hard question. I'd like to say it would be for specifically female chiropractors.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there isn't, because I do think there is a niche, and I do think there's something to be said about female chiropractors. I'm not going to take that away from what we do, especially now being a mother. We face different difficulties and challenges in this world, in a male, oriented chiropractic universe. But I'm just as strong. I'm just as good. I don't lack in my confidence or my adjusting skills or technique. I am a little bit, it is difficult being a mom and owning businesses and the balance of that. But I also am just ready to focus with elite people, because you'll see in my practice, I also have Dr. Brandon Wetz. He's my PT. And when you have me and him next to each other, I can't sit there and say like female only, because he is literally like a boy version of me. And I'm so happy to have him on board, right? So I have to honor who I am as a female, but also honor that I have some superstar players that like I just would love to showcase. And so when I'm looking to hopefully expand, I'm just looking for the elite of the elites, the creme of
Yep.
the creme.
Well, so the She Slays brand has kind of gone through a similar thing of where when it started 4 years ago, it was like, I think it was, I literally said, like, this is a podcast for female chiropractors. And as the episodes went on, minus the ones about periods and breastfeeding and things like that. But honestly, I think it was an episode we were talking about like maternity leave, where I did have a male chiropractor message me and say, like, I just want to thank you. I know you don't like, I'm maybe one of the only guys that listens, but this really helped me because my associate is a female and I'm trying to create the best opportunity for her to do this. And like, or, you know, even ones where we're talking about periods where these are doctors who have patients. So like, okay, maybe it's not applicable to them, but you know, it is to their patients and they're learning. And, you know, it's not like it's TMI for them. They're like, yeah.
Especially when you're on your business, right? Because who's going to pay my maternity leave? I am, right? On top of having to pay the coverage. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration when you're looking at finances and what we have to do. And when I have a sick day, you know, usually it's, sorry guys, like I have a kid or maybe I bring him to work. I don't know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. It's like show up and go, no, these are just allergies. This is
Sorry.
not a cold. This is
Yeah, I got
allergies.
something in my hands. Like we just got to multitask today.
Right. And so, yeah, it is interesting because like, I feel like, so how old are you?
I'm 36.
Oh my God, we're the exact age. So I feel like 10 years ago, maybe, or, you know, it was like female, and this is beyond chiropractic. I feel like this is more of a all society thing where it was like, we needed female focused things to, I don't want to say protect, to support, to provide community, a place that like, I see you and like, I've been through this and this is how I did it. You know, like there was this help for women in the workforce. And now I feel like those of us that have created this brand, we've got like these men who are like messaging us being like, but hey, I'm going through the same thing. Can I come in? And you're like, ah, shoot, you are, huh? Okay. Like,
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna honor. I have to honor both sides. Maybe that's a Gemini in me. I don't know. That's one thing I'm about. I love astrology. So the Gemini in me, masculine and feminine, I'm gonna get them both.
yeah, well, you figure it out. Okay. So what was being on camera like? So were you like really comfortable being on TikTok and going live and doing all that like lesser social media stuff first?
It takes a minute. And it's funny because I'm actually a pretty extroverted kind of human being. I grew up actually in theater arts. My mom had me in pageants since I was like 3 years old. So stage presence was something I never really struggled with. I was out when it came to like fear and actually like opening the act. Like I hated that. But I had enough practice, you know, up until I was like 18. This is just a totally different thing though. It's just so in your face. And you have to be on all day, 8 to 8, production. I mean, you are just, and then it's almost like you black out. Have you ever seen the scene of Will Ferrell in old school? Or he's at the podium and he just like, and he's like, I think I just blacked out. That's me. I think you just come down and you wake up and you're like, you just got that whole day? Like, am I good? What I say? What I do? Did I do things stupid? I don't know what happened. The first 3 days, I was a little bit like, fumbling my words. They need to have just a full blooper reel because I think it'd be hilarious.
That'd be fantastic. You just need to ask for that for yourself, like your own personal.
Give me that, please. It's got to be hilarious. But I think as the days went on, I found my group, right? What I wanted to talk about, and if I was doing chiropractic, and if I was doing this. And at one point, I remember asking one of the camera guys, I was like, sorry if I'm just being really extra. I can tone it down. And they were like, just be you. And I was like, oh, we got this.
Mhm. I
You
mean,
asked for
it's
a
kind of
friend.
probably similar to what a lot of new chiropractors, like brand new, those first few days where you're like seeing patients and you're like, I know what words to say. I know how to do an adjustment. Like,
I mean, I think there was one part, I want to say it was season 2, and I'll call myself out because I don't really care. I think I literally forgot what dorsiflexion and plantar flexion was. And I'm pretty sure that I say it completely incorrectly on camera, by
oh
the way.
no.
And I look back on it, what do we do? Laugh. The whole nation is gonna, I just called myself out. The whole nation
Yeah.
can see my mistake. But I don't care, like when you're in it, it's just so crazy. You can't hyper focus on the flubs. You'll drive yourself absolutely insane. And for some reason, when cameras are on, you just start questioning everything. You're like, wait, what is it? What is the atlas? Wait, is that the occiput? Like you start
Oh,
freaking
yeah.
out. Basic things.
Oh my gosh.
It's
I can't
hilarious.
imagine.
You just have to let go.
So beyond the pressure of, okay, so we talked about like the pressure of like how are peers going to perceive this? What did your brain go to the next level of like, if I do a good job at this, like this could be chiropractic's, I don't want to say big break, but like honestly, it's an underutilized profession in a very, very sick world that's like, dude, I remember back in school, the professor said, like, if the number of people utilizing chiropractic just doubled, we would literally not have enough chiropractors to serve who needed to be served.
Oh, yeah. Listen, there are so many connotations with chiropractic care. We could go back and forth forever, right? And so I had a lot of those fears, and I was going to bring all those questions to the forefront, right? I'm here to say, here, this is what chiropractic is. It's even more strange, especially not to get into some crazy discussion, but especially coming out of COVID. We were in a place where everybody was, doing all this pharmaceutical stuff, and we're coming out of this deep, dark place, and all of a sudden we're going to put natural care smack dab into the middle of the universe, then say, okay, by the way, chiropractic care, here you go, So I am someone who always says, I know you know a little bit of my story. I had cancer, and the medical world saved my life. I can't sit here and deny that the chemo and the radiation that I went through didn't save my life. Here I am, talking to you. Chiropractic always and continues to save my life. And I would like to at least believe that if I can be on this type of platform with this show and have this breakthrough for our profession, that we can maybe make our worlds a little bit more synergetic, right? That there's a place for alternative medicine and there's a place for medicine as well, right? Because when we signed and we took an oath, our oath was to first do no harm. And when we, put our hands in our chest that day, we were here to serve patients. And sometimes that's chiropractic. Sometimes that's chiropractic and PT. Sometimes that's medical doctors and chiropractic. I try and make sure that at the end of the day, what we're doing is right for our patients, right? No matter what that looks like. And if I can advise natural care and if I can bring alternative medicine to the forefront for the first time, I mean, holy cow, what a breakthrough for chiropractic, right? We've gone through so many discussions, even with the AMA and history, that have been, they've been put on our forehead for a really long time, and we don't talk about that. I'm okay with having the open discussion about what we really do. And maybe people don't want to hear it, but for the first time, we are shedding light on that, and I'm really, really proud of it. I hope to continue representing really, really well, but it's something that I take seriously because it's about time. Honestly, we live in an over-medicated world. And it's about time people start fueling their body properly.
Oh,
Yes.
I love that. And it does feel like, I feel like recently, and see, how do I say this? With patient care, is almost like the people who turn to medications, like the doctors who that's like where their thinking is at, have doubled down. And it's so weird. And I don't know if it's just in my corner of the earth, but my patient experiences have been more so even, and I'm with you, like I'm not, my antibiotics, my daughter got a staph infection at 9 days old and had IV antibiotics and potentially saved her life. So I tell patients all the time, I'm not anti anything, but it is one of those things where it's like sometimes I feel like I'm like, okay, are we are they reading the same studies that I did about antibiotics? Like what's going on? How come it's still just it feels, let me rephrase that. How come it still feels like we're carrying the health, the true health of the country out? Like, come on, MDs, come on, get on board. And there's so many great ones and stuff like that. You live in a bigger town where there's variety and things like that, but it's just,
And it's about finding a synergy. I think one of the biggest concerns I have, but what's also really neat about chiropractic, people are asking questions. They should be asking questions about their health, right? And I always say, it doesn't matter what kind of doctor it is. I don't care if it's your orthodontist or your OBGYN. But if they haven't asked about, your food, your water, your exercise, your overall care, then they're not being a doctor. They're just writing a script, right? And I would agree the same thing for a chiropractor, right? We need to address the basics before we can either look to see what kind of vitamin we're going to give them or supplementation or what care plan we're going to do. And I think that people need to start asking the right questions. I think there's a pandemic right now of just trusting and going, right? Just going with the flow. And we need to search inside ourselves to find out what's right for us, right? I'm really, really big. I work with OBGYNs. I work with some of the top orthopedic surgeons in the area. I get referrals from them. But I'm really, really crazy about, finding the right doctors and talking to these orthos, right? So that I know that the partner I have with this other doctor is synergetic with how I feel, right? Because you should have your health at utmost important, and you could have a doctor that listens to you, right? Not just sit there and tell you what to do, right? So I always tell people, question things. It's okay to question things, ask the questions. And if they're not taking the time to answer the questions, they're probably not in the right place.
right. And if you're afraid to ask that question, then it's probably not the right doctor for you.
And I always tell my patients, that even if I go over an MRI, it's a great example. I'll give them my, 2 cents, but I always say, hey, I'm going to refer you. Let's say I think it's a surgical case. I'm going to refer you to an orthopedic surgeon. And I always advise you to go seek their opinion, because you can't make informed consent without knowing both sides of the story, regardless if you trust mine or not. Go visit, hear what they have to say, and then make a decision what's right for you, right? And we don't do that often enough.
No. One of the other things that I'd love your opinion on is, so I feel like when you see the whole big idea of chiropractic, and it's like, well, yes, pain, right? Like pain, neck and back pain. And then we start getting, into all these other things, nervous system related, fight or flight, sympathetic dominance, all this stuff. But one of the things that I personally feel I have to almost recoil on is our embarrassment with the attachment to pain. Is that and how I think we shouldn't, because anybody who's been in pain, really, that's life-changing to be in chronic pain. And so what's your opinion on chiropractors, not in a bad way, because like I said, me self has kind of abandoned pain as I'm too good for,
right. Oh, because I'm treating the symptom.
I'm
right?
treating the symptoms. I'm for nervous system. And yeah.
I'll use my own personal story. I got in a really, really bad accident. I have multiple extrusions in my neck and low back. And what I can say is, listen, you can give me all the corrective care you want, right? But it's not going to undo the extrusions, right? I am a chronic pain patient, and I have 2 options. I have the option to go for surgery, or I can say to myself, I'm going to do the homework that it takes, even if it's long-term and lifelong, to go see a chiropractor, get regular massages, and do pain management. And guess what? That is worth every bit of sanity to me, especially when you're a chronic pain patient. When you're 10 out of 10 every day with migraines, you can't work, you do all these things. I'm sorry. Sign me up for whatever corrective arthro stem, whatever decompression thing you want to do for however many, whatever. It's not going to do it. I've tried. Okay. I did PT, I did injections, I did everything, but I have learned how to manage my pain. And that's a whole different type of patient. And I think we need to also honor that there are simply people who are just in this for the longevity of what chiropractic can do, which is provide them relief. And that is everything to chronic pain patients. End of story on that.
Well, yeah, because like, I mean, you look at the opioid pandemic and it's like, hey, Kairos, like we could help that quite a bit if we, as long as we're not too good to talk about pain. It's almost like I remember being really frustrated when I was in school. I went to Northwestern and they had just gotten a big donation that they were going to be doing a study on, and it was on, and they were going to be partnering with the University of Minnesota on this study. And so it was going to be very, very cool, but it was about low back pain. And I just remember being a student and so like, what a waste. What a waste. We've already proven that we can we can help. See, those are the kind of things on a show I'd be like, hold up, I don't want to say fix, take it back. that I would just like create like a spontaneous tick where I swear immediately after something, where like, you can't use it. I just dropped the F-bomb. But no, so like, I just remember being like, we've already proven to the world that we can help low back pain. Why are we wasting there? And one of the chiropractors that was a part of the study that I was like basically saying this to in a nice way, like over coffee, was like, well, we have it. People are discovering, they have no idea that chiropractic can help this. They have no idea.
Do you agree? For me, it's like, I don't think it's two things. I think maybe one, people are a little bit, maybe if you want to call it naive or ignorant to the fact of pain management. But I think there's another part, right? Because my wellness clients and what that looks like in their pain, maybe some of my pain management patients are once a week. Maybe they're every 2 weeks. Maybe they've done once a year, they're doing great, and now they're every once a month. It looks different. But I think the biggest misconception with pain management for me is the work. I think people don't want to put in the work like anything else, right? It's so much easier to, take a Tylenol or whatever it might be than say, hey, I'm going to get adjusted and take time out of my schedule every week, right? And that's where the failure to comprehend pain management becomes into play, because that might look different for every patient. And they just don't want to put the work in. It's like, and I try and tell people this all the time. It's like, okay, you don't want to put the work in, but the check engine light comes on your car and you go get it checked, right? And maybe that check engine light comes on sooner because you did 10,000 miles in 3 months versus 10,000 miles in a year, right? You're going to necessitate that fuel quicker. Well, you have underlying issues that are creating pain. So guess what? You're going to be in my practice a lot more, but the choice is yours. And whether they ultimately want to do the homework for pain management is a different thing, right? But I'm dedicated, girl. I get adjusted and I get an hour and a half massage every other Saturday of my life for the past 8 years. And it has kept me, that's my recipe. And eating and dieting and all those things too. But I stand by what I say, and I get regularly adjusted with a massage every other week of my life, sometimes more.
Hi, friends. I wanted to take a quick break from the episode to make sure you all know about the cool stuff we have happening over on Patreon. This is a platform where I can offer you extra content, behind the scenes interviews, quick trainings, and exclusive trainings answering your exact question live, back to back with me. It's a way for me to more directly interact with you and post some fun things that would never be in the normal weekly episodes. To check out what we're doing and to sign up, click the link in the show notes. I'd like to take a moment to thank one of our primary sponsors of the podcast, Insight CLA. The Insight tech moves the message off the spine and into the nervous system, where the magic of the adjustments can be measured and tracked. Everyone from newborns to seniors are being scanned in my practice and in thousands of other practices like ours, so they can be examined and inspired to choose chiropractic care. It's like an instant referral machine because the scans are so visible and informative. Like, what patient wouldn't want to know how their nervous system is performing? The staff at CLA are ready to take care of you and answer any questions you may have. They also have an incredible online academy that can help train everyone in the office and help them to feel confident on how to get perfect scans and how to interpret the results. We have been using the Insight technology in our clinics for over 7 years now, and it is a complete game changer for conversion, retention, and patient education. Click the link below in the show notes as She Slays listeners get preferred pricing and hundreds of dollars off their purchase. Hey, She Slayers, I have partnered with Well Aligned and Above Down Apparel to give all of my listeners something really special. So listen up, don't skip. A free premium t-shirt. Okay, you get a free t-shirt. So just head over to wellaligned.com/she slays to claim your listener offer. That's all you got to do. Above Down has the coolest and most comfy chiropractic tees that showcase your personality. My favorite is the Mabel. I love it. They're super soft and a great conversation starter if you do seek conversation with, your patients. We call it table talk. What more can you ask for? So I've also been using well-aligned materials for years to educate my patients. They have high quality ROF folders, patient handouts, office forms, posters, and a ton more. So why recreate the wheel when there's a perfectly designed communication tool ready for you to help educate and inform? Head over to wellaligned.com/she slays to claim your free t-shirt. And I'll drop a link in the show notes so you can check it out. We're going to take a really weird turn here. Are you religious?
Yes.
Okay. So spiritually wise or God wise, whatever, have you felt like you needed to have a mantra, a prayer, any kind of grounding through this is that the thing that helped overcome the fear, the imposter syndrome? Like, talk to me about what that has looked like for you. Because this is big. This is like a big thing.
I grew up in a Catholic church. I don't practice like I used to. I am very...
No Catholics do.
I'm very committed to my faith, but my faith looks different from other people, right? I've had several near-death experiences in my life, and I would be lying to myself if I didn't believe that there was a higher power that got me through those moments in my life. So I really honor that. I'm a very energy-seeking human being, and people think I'm crazy and auras and chakras and all those things, but I do believe in law of attraction, and it's something that I practice daily, especially with imposter syndrome. In fact, I'm at the top of my game right now, and I've never had more imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I've actually had to rely on my faith and, hey, keep that chin up. And I know what my work ethic is, and I have to believe in myself so deeply that I know no other way, right? And I always describe my imposter syndrome like bungee jumping. You're taking this leap of faith in yourself. You might even believe yourself. You might not even believe that you're good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, all these things that, the best chiropractor in the universe. And you're on that ledge and you're back and forth. And all of a sudden you just jump and you're flying down in a whirlwind, the hot mess of your fear and all these things that are bombarding your soul. And you land at the bottom and you go, oh, shoot, I made it, But I do have a saying, and it is success is never owned. It's rented, and rent is due every day. And it keeps me working so hard. It keeps me focused on my family so that I always stay humbled in my game. I remember when I first started, I made I think I was making like $700 a week. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, and I thought that was like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
But you have to own your stuff,
Yeah.
and you have to get out of that syndrome and tell yourself you are good enough, and you have to look in the mirror and love yourself every day. I really try hard to practice self-love, and that's not easy. I'll be honest.
I feel like you said something that just we need to talk more about, because you said, I'm at the top of my game, and imposter syndrome has never been bigger, stronger. And I think that so many people, it's easy to look at the chiropractors on the stages, doing the TikToks and going viral and now on television, and just go, if I had her confidence, I could maybe have an ounce of that impact.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's not how I feel. I think if you were to ask my friends, they'd probably be like, the true Alessandra probably has like had multiple discussions where they've had to talk me off the ledge and tell me like I'm worthy, right? But the other choices, right? I always make this analogy. I think it's funny. When you get to that top of the game, they think, oh, you're the big dog, right? Now you got all this stuff going and you're it and whatnot. But I always tell people this: when I signed into biology, I had an A. At the end of the semester, I could either continue to have an A or have a B, C, D. Owning your success and waking up every single day and achieving that every day so that at the end of the semester you still have a hey is the hardest part. The maintenance is the hardest part. The patting yourself on the back to get up and do it every single day and love what you do every day is the hardest part. And there's always ebbs and flows, and you're going to fail and do these things. But my hardest part, honestly, is waking up and saying, like, you got this, girl. You got this. Keep doing it. Keep doing it, I lack confidence, actually, in a lot of ways, and I don't think people would actually see that about me.
Yeah, I mean,
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
So how has
millions of people watching? Can we talk about that?
Yeah, exactly.
1 million viewers, guys. Like,
Okay, so how is watching yourself on television?
Weird. I watch it once, I don't watch it again.
Okay, so you do watch the episode once.
When it actually aired, we had our first premiere party. I threw it at my girlfriend's restaurant, Salute. And for the other ones, we had like maybe 30 people at my house at any given time on those Wednesdays for all the other ones. Order pizza, and they're like, man, your show's like 11. I'm like, girl, I know. I had to like take a nap to watch my own damn show. I'm a mom. I need to be in bed at like 8. You're asking me to like, I would literally come home from work, nap like an hour and a half, and then like order pizza with 30 people at my house. But they loved coming over because during the commercials, I would kind of like throw in some cool behind the scenes, like, and they're like, I think the behind the scenes was cool.
Right. Your husband's just like, I don't know. This is what you do. This is your job.
And I haven't watched them since. I don't know. I'm having a hard time, if I were to be blatant about it, honoring all of it because it's so beautiful, right? But it's hard not to feel braggadocious about it. It's hard to watch yourself and be like, yeah, I mean, I'm not that.
You don't post a lot about it. No, you don't. Like, as I was going through your Instagram, I'm like, when the hell does she even announce that this thing happened? And it's like,
and then there's a lot of rules. Things have changed, I'm learning how to honor, and I think most people will be like, yeah, I'm going to go with it. It's funny. I have chiropractors being like, oh, well, I have a TV show coming out and I'm going to be
serious.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, can I get on your show or all these kinds of things? I'm like, I don't even feel that way about myself. So trying to like bring somebody else on board is even more difficult. I'm like, I'm learning to honor it. It's a beautiful thing. It's a privilege. I truly believe that. And I'm just remembering to stay humbled. Little of me in College Gardens.
Right. So whether or not Miss Chiropractic allows he chiropractics in or not, we'll set that aside. What just in some of our like back and forth conversation on Instagram, it feels like beyond helping patients, beyond helping the overall profession, it feels like you have a heart to want to help like chiropractors succeed.
I really do. We're in such a, I don't know, we're in a strange world these days, and I'm trying so hard to coach people on chiropractic care, but I'm also not this like guru, systemic, philosophical human being either. I'm not robotic whatsoever. I'm totally wild in my own practice. I believe that laughter is a part of my medicine as well, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Like when you talk to the patient about her yabas, or what did you call them? I was like, hell, Kajangas. I was like, hell yeah. I really believe that you are like that in real life. I was like,
Yeah, I don't, it's reading the room, right? You wouldn't say
The
this.
room is millions of people. Like, it's one thing if you're like, are you going to think this funny? You're going to think this is funny. But it's like, wait, will
You have
America
to
think
be
this is funny?
done, right? I think one of the things that I would say to any chiropractor is be yourself, right? We don't need to be these astute doctors because we're having to prove what the chiropractic profession is, right? Be yourself. Be yourself. It works every single time. Don't try and put yourself into a mold. And what works with Joe Schmo across the street might not work for you. So don't try and do what they do. Don't mimic. Take advice. Take what you can, learn from others and mentors, but pave your own road after that. And I think that's something that I would say to any chiropractor. Don't worry about fitting into the mold. You're gonna find your practice is so much more beautiful when you do it how you want to do it, even if you're weird and quirky like me. Like honestly, like they tell you not to be, compassionate with them and all these things, and it takes time, blah blah.
I think that's the toxic alpha shit that's leaving. And I don't even attach alpha to like the masculine genitalia. I just think that like it's the old way. It's the chip on the shoulder. This is who we need to be taken seriously. And it's like, okay, well, we tried that and that didn't move the needle that much. So now let's just try being authentic, empathetic humans who listen to our patients.
I fully intend on spreading the word of chiropractic care. And what that looks like is different for everybody. For me, I don't care how you do it. Practice what you practice, talk to the spine, talk about nerve interference, do what you do. And I am all good with that. It's about patient care and it's about paving your own path. The more we can, heal, the better we're going to be, the better profession is. Don't be so, I can't stand that.
So then what is next for you? Because looking at the work-life balance and the other side hustles that you're like creating is got to be a lot up in the air of like, okay, well, is there going to be multiple seasons? Like,
we're waiting to hear back about season 2. There's a lot of logistics to go into this. It could be tomorrow. It could be in several months. We don't know here. It's kind of just like stay patient and wait. I would love there to be a season 2. I think we just touched like the surface. I think we just went this, and I think that if there's a season 2, there's going to be some massive chiropractic movement. Not that there already is, and I've had the presidents reach out to me, the FD. I mean, I've had everybody reach out to me. It is awesome. It's the work-life balance is really tough. I have a lot of upcoming projects, a lot of them that I can't talk about, but I'm going to be so excited to announce, and I'll promise I can get some of those to you first when I'm ready. But there's a lot of really exciting things coming up on the forefront. And for that, I'm really, really stoked. We're going to be doing podcasts like crazy. A lot of social media is going to be coming out, content. I'm working probably like 80 hours a week right now.
Well, that's what I was going to say is like, well, shit, you were just pulling back. Like you were like 4-day work weeks, 20 hours in clinic. And you're like, never mind.
And you do all that because I was going to have a baby, right? That's the female in me. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have a baby now. I'm going to not work on Fridays moving forward because I'm going to stay home with my baby, right? And I would rather, pay an associate to work on Fridays because I'm never going to get the time back with my baby. Well, I didn't expect the show was going to happen. And so I went in the complete opposite direction. And that's a conversation my husband and I have really been working on, is the fact that I'm actually not as present as I want to be. And that's a guilt, right? For my family, for my baby. But, one thing that him and I always discuss is if what you're doing is with good intent and with good value, then don't worry about it. Keep trucking forward, right? Because I don't feel like I'm the best mom and the best wife right now and all these things, even the best chiropractors. I'm being pulled in a million directions. But I know that the goal, and I'm in the trenches right now, once I get out of these trenches and we get some more solutions, it is going to be worth it, right? And it's for good intention. And I know as long as I honor that only good can come from it.
Well, and it's why I asked the question about like, what does your faith practice look like right now? Because when you are, it's such a classic head game, you know, the enemy, not the AMA, like the enemy or whatever. You know, that's almost like how you know you must be on the right path is when that voice inside and that those lies get louder of like, well, but you're sucking as a parent. Like, oh, you know, and it's just like, that's how you know you must be onto something bigger.
I always have to come back to like, girl, just have faith. Just have faith that
Mhm.
everything's going to work out the way it's going to be. I I've had so many crazy instances in my life, and my life has been so wild. And it's funny because I even look back on some of the journals that I write a lot. And some of the quotes that I wrote and some of the things that I wanted, the dreams that I wanted and my goals, and every one of them happened. I surpassed all of them, not only because I had faith, but I think only ask for things you want them like, yeah, I want, yeah. It never happens when you want it to, but it always happens as long as you follow through with it and you have faith, right? And I think there's part of it that's hard work, but the other part of it is like, don't you worry, you got this. Like, don't you lose hope. Don't you lose hope, girl. Like, just keep trucking forward. And so, there's two parts of that, right? Because I can't deny the hard work I put in, right? That wasn't, fate did not bring me here. I can tell you that, right? But faith is always in the background and it's always speaking loudly to me. And that's the part that keeps me like, when I'm in that moment of jumping that we talked about, like, all right, there is no like clear decision. It's, I'm having faith, I'm jumping. Let's go. Like, let go, girl. And I think that's that moment where you have to be like, sorry, there's no like clear, concise like conclusion about how this is going to go. You just have faith.
And you can't control. You cannot control.
That,
So how do we as chiropractors support this? What can we do? Like,
obviously, keep spreading the word. You're going to go on TLC, go on my page, like things, share them. Even, our podcast here today, make sure you share it, even on TLC. We're on HBO, we're on Discovery. Oh my gosh, we're on the TLC app as well. So all those things count. Spread the word, continue to share it with friends and family, watch reruns, it still counts. And just keep your fingers crossed. Have faith.
yeah, we'll just have
faith that this is going to work out for season 2.
Yes, yes.
We're going to be more
and don't crazy. Send her a message asking if you can be on there.
It's going to be more crazy.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am just, I'm not like a feel-goody person. I don't like saying nice things to people. Not because I'm mean, it just makes me feel awkward. But like, I really think that you've done an amazing job. Like, and I'm super judgmental and critical. I wouldn't say anything, but it's just like,
thank you. Yes.
I support you. However you need support, you need anything, you reach out, because I think that what you're doing is so cool and so scary and so big. And I don't even think any of us have any idea the ripple effect. Like, holy shit, you took a boulder. Like, no, you didn't just throw a pebble in the lake. Like, the ripple effect from this show, even if it was just season 1, is life-changing. And so, like, thanks for sacrificing.
Thank you. And I'll be calling you guys. I got to be honest. Like, the supporting words, even the IGs, the DMs, it helps. It does help. It helps. Like, when I'm in that moment where like, holy shit, I'm terrified and this is really hard. And what the hell did I just do? It helps. I go back to some of those DMs and I look back on those things. I say, you know what? This is the good intention. This is why I'm doing it. And my community's behind me. And I know that. And I know that deeply, and I have to just run with it and just like put my blinders on, just go girl.
Yeah. And feel free to send me any of the mean things that you get from other chiropractors, because I will be sure to publicly, you can't shame them. You're a public figure now.
Funny though,
I will. I will freaking call them out.
It is really funny because there's a couple like on the threads and like Facebook and like Instagram and like even in like the comments, like on my, whatever it is, my IG. And you'll see other chiropractors like go in on that chiropractor, be like, dude, you should be thanking her. Like, because of this girl, I don't care how this goes. We're talking about chiropractic on a nationwide scale. So it's, for me, it's actually like,
You just like, I didn't even have to say anything.
it's like thing. But I don't, like I said, I don't really care either way.
Yep.
You know, come run a mile in my shoes and then you can judge.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll be on the sidelines cheering. We will share. We will do all the things. And I just think you're great. So
then I have so much more to share with you. So I can't wait for like a 2 with you. You.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Great.
All right, Cheese Slayers. Until next week. Bye.